on this computer. And we are live for our Wednesday Zoom main session with the Digital Life Collective. Okay, so I proposed 3 topics, and if anybody else has something else, let's add to that. One is I just wanted to touch base on what this Libra thing is, the new cryptocurrency that Facebook introduced, and what the implications are in general. Then I want to talk about a new MetaMost bot. So I'll show some screenshots, how that looks like, and what the functionality is behind that. And then I wanted to show you this new sign-up form I drafted, put together a mock-up to see how that could integrate with the portal to get started on onboarding new members from new organizations.
The only thing that I would add is maybe 2 to 3 minutes on how the website is doing and what are the next steps there, since I've been gone and I don't know what progress has been made.
Great, yeah, let's add that to. Okay, let's start with Libra. Definitely want to hear what Michael has to say, but let me give you my sort of neutral point of view first before we get into why Facebook, why it's a bank. So what they're going to do is introduce this new cryptocurrency. Supposedly, it's a decentralized currency and kind of out of control. Facebook, right? There's an organization they create, and they have some sponsor organizations, including Fred Wilson's venture capital thing. I do like Fred Wilson, and he's written about it, and there is an interesting perspective on what Libra is and what it's going to do. What I find fascinating about that is that suddenly you give everyone a wallet. It's going to be embedded obviously in the Facebook interface somewhere. Makes everyone use cryptocurrency at once. You convert you create this whole thing. It becomes a normal thing to actually use the cryptocurrency to pay for services. Of course, the hope of Facebook is that this is funny because it is kind of circular in a sense of that. Obviously, if you use Libra, then the funds go right back into Facebook in some way, right? So it stays inside the Facebook mothership, but of course they're going to extract their own value out of this. But what's also interesting is that a few people say this could be the Netscape moment, or the Internet Explorer moment that we had, I don't know, 20 years ago, where Microsoft introduced Internet Explorer, and it started the whole browser wars, right? Then Netscape came and other browser came, and then the whole internet exploded after this liberation of the technologies that suddenly surfaced, and the simplification and the ease of use of these technologies through the browser technologies. So that's what I read. That could be a similar moment now in history where suddenly there finally is the normalcy of cryptocurrency has arrived, right? What we do with this again is up to us, and obviously this consortium that controls that cryptocurrency, but it could also be risk for Facebook itself that that one more thing before I stop here. They're starting to introduce a whole new advertising model, right? So given that you have your own wallet, then suddenly advertisers can pay you for services, right? They can pay you for allowing certain content to surface, or they surface stuff up in front of you. That's sort of reverting the whole idea of only extracting data as it is from users now, right? Going right to the data extraction model from Facebook towards a model where the user is more in control over what's happening to them. They allow that, and obviously the incentive is tremendous because you want this currency, right? Because it's backed up by fiat currencies, supposedly, right? So you can, if you want to, you can convert it at some point, and then you have real money coming out of this. So that to me, so summarize that, I think it sets a lot in motion, when they start doing this next year. And it's an interesting thing to observe and see to follow up with, what's our approach to that? Can we introduce our own currency at this point? How does that relate to other currencies? Because one thing that Fred Wilson mentioned is that this is an ideal model for new kinds of organizations, for open source organizations too, that will help them set their funds free, make that much, much easier for them to circulate their funds and get new funding. So that all is about this new thing that's happened, right? So I'll stop here. So, Michael, you want to take over the microphone?
I totally agree. I think Fred Wilson's analysis is right to the point. I do think there's a groundbreaking, it's a shifter. And one of the things that persuades me to think that is the hysteria that the bankers, economists, central bankers, nationalist apologists, oh my God, you're going to destroy the nation state or something, So yeah, they've got a good one. I've been wondering why it's taking them so damn long. I put up a link to Hawala. Do you know Hawala? It's a long-standing network for remittances that's been operating with 300 or 400 years. As a method of a collective of people that's holding a base asset, and basically they remotely manage their node sets. So I can send somebody some money because I've got a buddy in Istanbul who will cover it, you see? Well, it's essentially what these guys are now doing. And PayPal could have been doing it for the last 15 years. I don't know why they didn't. Really can't understand that. I think it's going to work. I think it's particularly interesting, the point you're making about so the micro charging. Because when you've got this currency embedded in Facebook, then your attention can be paid by the microsecond if you like. Well, maybe the microsecond is pushing it a bit much, but so yeah, there's going to be a lot of gaming on this. Essentially, it's still the same old shit. It's still the same. Compete for a scarce commodity and be drawn around by the nose. Heard an interesting thing the other day. A woman talking about the food we eat on a global scale, and saying that it used to be we hunted for food, right? We had to go out and get it. Then we started agriculture, and that was a lot better in some ways. The food was there. And then industrial agriculture, and now the food hunts us. It's the same pattern all the way through. And that's, we've got the money hunting us now, even more deeply than it has been for the last few hundred years. And I think it is a really good time to go with the wave, branch off, take the lift that's coming around this. And I think Big Life should move quickly to clarify what we're going to do with this stuff. And I think in both areas, because frankly, in the digital coin itself, we're very small fish, very, very small fish in a big pool. So I think there needs to be a divergent, a new component, a unique selling proposition that, and that of course I think it's eternal network currencies. So I'm here this morning, Joachim, because you made a comment about we've got to get moving on this, and I agree. I think we've got to start getting down to this.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Let me put a link right here in the chat for everyone to get going on this. This is a document Michael and I have been working on, what it means to introduce a digital currency for the CAS model and for the Digital Life Collective. That's
Eric,
great.
you had your Eric.
Yeah. I'd like to ask if anybody is familiar with Stellar and the Stellar airdrop.
Vaguely.
Okay. Basically, they have money that they're giving away for people who open up new accounts. So you get $50 in Stellar Lumens. And, well, yeah, right. But think about it for organizations, if they get their people to sign up and then donate the $50, pull it together, and do something with it.
There's lots of, very good levers, but you got to be real careful with airdrops. You're publishing worthlessness.
Okay, go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think the Lumen is pretty well supported as a stable currency, and it's very effective on Keybase for people paying each other and getting out cash. It really enables the economic freedom and being able to pay anybody easily. I suggest we all sign up for Keybase and get our Stellar account and the $50 and donate it to Dig Life to earn our 50 Dig tokens.
I'm listening to this conversation as a muggle, and just like so quickly people are just going to go, oh, I can't do this unless we make it very simple.
Yeah, you need to instruct people because they have to take a picture of your photo ID and validate that you are a real person. But once you do that, you get your $50. Okay. So it's worth exploring.
And Keybase is a very easy way for someone to get a public, a strong identity and a public key, so you can exchange lumens very readily in an environment. Oh boy, I think I'm lost.
Oh, well, I could explain that Keybase also gives you secure file sharing and secure chat because it's end-to-end encrypted from your computer or any device that you register with them. So you set up your first computer and then you can link other devices to your identity. And it makes you, if you want stronger proof of your identity, you could validate your Twitter account with them. And if you have GitHub, you could do that. So, and the more people who follow you, the better that your superpowers become, that people will know you're really the real thing. So something to explore.
Is Keybase a competitor of Mattermost in that chat space?
Not yet. I mean, the techies get it right away, but the muggles are going to need to learn the need for this end-to-end encryption because everything on Google is in Google's data lake and could be mined for anything. But here, you're in control of your identity. You're saying, okay, I'm only putting this out here. I'm the only one who could access this file, or this other person and me. We have our own private chat, private file sharing. So it's very powerful. It's not ready for prime time yet, but I mean, PKE is using it, and you have people there who are very knowledgeable about its potential.
Cool.
Yeah, you're silent, Joachim. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, thanks, Eric. So yeah, I tried to install it, and you do need to go through a couple of steps. I still try to understand how it really works. And you need the desktop client. It doesn't work well on, it doesn't even work on the web client. That doesn't have all the functionality you need to do these transactions and reach out to the groups. So it's definitely not Muggle friendly, I would say, at this stage. But Eric, so the question is, does it allow you to create and use these lumens in their wallet without going through this elaborate identity, approval process using official documentation?
Well, I think you still need to prove your identity to Stellar, even if you sign up through Keybase. I would imagine that's a requirement these days for any cryptocurrency sign up.
I see. that's another hurdle there. But I mean, nevertheless, I think we should take a look at this because obviously, the conditions are right to introduce, to start using these cryptocurrencies to exchange the value that we create.
Does the Facebook thing mean that everybody will have a wallet that can use any token, or is it specific to Facebook?
No,
I think
you'll
it's
still need your MetaMask or on your phone. Trust Wallet is a great wallet, open source.
Right, but I'm asking about what Facebook is using and what's that going to mean for the population of Muggles who are going to be introduced to that. Do they know that they can then use any of the cryptocurrencies? Is that possible?
I don't think it's proposed for the interchange on the Libra process and platform. That's all going to be Libra. It's all going to be Facebook. But the gateway to pump up your wallet or drain your wallet will be available through a bunch of different interfaces. So it could be to this crypto, that crypto, to Bitcoin, to real money, whatever.
I don't think you're going to have a lot of motivation to support other cryptos, though.
They're not supporting them, Jim. They're sucking them. They've got plenty of motivation. They've got no bloody problem. They've got the center of the entire damn market by the short hairs, and they're going to squeeze. It's going to happen. And we're going to see some real crunch in the crypto world. We're going to see a lot of exposed limitations. So in some ways, it's quite nice. It's going to really freshen the atmosphere. But it's very much for Facebook's benefit, and you know where that goes.
All right, before this gets too heated here, I know there's a lot at stake and a lot of opinions and where we're going with this. So I would suggest we start some kind of a study group here at the Digital Life Collective to get deeper into that. And Michael, you already set up a whole domain space, and we have
no, that domain space is entirely for CC College. But there is the digital currency channel on the main line, digital currency, and Gary's been filling it in the last couple of days. Gary's got quite excited.
He does that. I think there's some worthwhile conversations to be had with the Commons Engine folks, and Emmeline and Farananda and Gene Russell.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next topic, the MetaMask bot. Since we have Tech Wednesday today, let me share my screen and go to, where is this? Here. Okay, so what this is a new bot plugin module for MetaMask. Comes out of the box. It's just a matter of enabling that. What this bot does, it gives every new member who joins MetaMask a welcome message. Here's an example, a screenshot here of the welcome message. That also includes, text links to code of conduct and other documentation we could include in that kind of welcome message. But more importantly, it is also interactive, as it can ask you about what kind of groups and channels you want to join right away. And it is based on a question that asks about, so what are you interested in, So are you interested in supporting, developing on MetaMask? I don't know. So this could be a whole range of questions or possible buttons here that determine what channels you want to join. And then in the next step here, it just adds you to the different channels. It's very similar to what we have with automatic sign up into channels as a new member. It's a feature we enabled a while ago, but this is, I think, much better because it now starts to interact with the new user. So we can go into that onboarding process and see what is the first message we want to share, and maybe be more granular in what channels that user want to join. I think including domains too. So if he or she is interested in working for operations, doing something there, then we can include that into this onboarding process. The way this works is pretty simple. There's a config.json file that we control, and you just sort of configure this thing in one fell swoop. There's an example further down here where you just say what the message is like. There's some markdown, and then it goes into the different branches of, okay, what actions trigger which groups are you going to, which channels are you going to join. So fairly simple to set up. I would say, once we figure out what the question is and the introduction to the collective, then we can publish this right away. So this can happen within a few days if we're fast. I think that takes care of a good portion of the hand-holding we're doing with new members coming on board.
Have you thought about this in terms of the hardest thing for me doing onboarding has been getting the sign-up link for the other teams, like getting people into projects. There's a lot of Dig Life members who don't even know that projects exist. So could we get a notification maybe when that link, like that link is changed every once in a while? It expires and is updated, right?
Right.
The link to join. So if we could get a notification when that changes, then we can just edit that in the JSON config, and that would allow people, like, if they want to do, like, bring their projects to Dig Life, they would join the projects domain. If they're interested in partnering with their own organization or group, they would join the partners domain and find all the partner onboarding stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of and then there's a question about the maps is all Dig Life members that's been acting like partner or projects. And then there's a question pending about the Open Learning Commons, whether, what that community wants to do.
Right. I think that goes into the next topic. I wanted to show you a screenshot, a mock-up of how do you join domains when you come to the collective the first time.
Great.
So any other questions about this here, the Mattermost bot? I know Gary's looking at that too, our bot expert. He's already deep into that. He likes it, I think. So got his approval.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, I think it's very useful. Let's explore that further. And I'm sure Mattermost will come up with extensions to this. Because the webhooks they're using with these interactive buttons, you can do so much more in this. So I'm pretty sure there's more to come.
And how many, it is a welcome bot. Does it have some limitation on how many questions you can ask, or can you configure it to do any sort of cascade of questions depending on what the user answers?
There's an example at the bottom here, Christina, that's pretty lengthy here, you see. And I think you can extend that any way you want. So there's pretty good stuff you can introduce. I'm not sure how nested that is, right? I don't think they have a way to say you answer A and then you get to another set of questions for B, C, D. I'm not sure if that's built into this bot. We'll try. Okay, so the other topic, let me show you a mock-up of the sign-up form. If I can get to that. Here you go. All right, so yeah, let me show you first. Let's go back to diglife.coop. So as a member, of course, you have access to all the different domains here on top, right? They're listed, and you can click on this and you can open and work inside the domain, including an all button that shows you content across all of the domains. What I want to do is next to the all, put a plus button in there that gets you to this screen here. And that can either be a screen that you see the first time you come to the Dig Life portal, right? When you have not joined any of the organizations or any of the domains. Or in addition to, you are a member, but you want to become a member of other domains now inside the Dig Life Collective. So,
Quick visual note,
yeah.
that those double X's looked like they weren't available rather than you had joined them.
Okay. Yeah.
I would do some sort of check mark or something.
Yeah. So what this is,
Or make them a green color. And,
I know, this
just
this
the
is
red
not
X.
right. This is not a final design, and this is going to be like out of the box check boxes for a form, right? They look different. The typical thing with the boxed out thing inside the box. So don't worry about this. That's going to change. So, but the idea here is, so we have a quick introduction, without going into a lengthy, detailed, introduction of what this is. That's stuff we're going to do on the website. But here, this is on the diglife.coop portal, where it's a quick introduction to what's going to happen here. I'm using two terms here. One is cooperation at scale, and the other one is technology we trust. And that can be links, of course, to more details behind that. But then what happened is you can join and support any group organization for $1 a month. That's the starting point. So when you click on, say, Digital Life Collective and Open Learning Commons, that'll be down here $2 a month. And then we also say go to support into the infrastructure cost and member support cost we have, right? Any additional donations, if you have 10 extra bucks, then we can send them to another form and then join us. So this way, it gives you now access. After you do this, of course, if you check, then you join us, then it comes up with the payment form that comes from Stripe. You fill that out, you get into a subscription model for Stripe, and then you sign up. Then we'll collect your email information, and then that would trigger the new messages for the join links, right? So from there, you can click on the link, and then you get invited to Dig Life Collective and Open Learning Commons in this case.
Do you know if it has to be two different links to up the donation quantity? For additional donations would be much easier if you could just say, like, all members pay what they can, choose your level, and have it be a drop down on the actual $2 a month minimum page. Do you know what I mean? Like, having that be a separate form makes it much less likely that members will increase their own monthly fee.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe if we can extend that to instead of additional donation thing of $XXX, something like
Well,
that.
I think instead of that text for additional donations, you have room there. You put a drop down, like say additional donation, and then just a drop down of possible values.
Yeah, and that's where I would put like the standard.
Right.
I don't know, the in the U.S. the nonprofit world, it's like $35 a year, $60 a year, $120 a year type of member, and then above that is you get called something else, sustainer or something like that. So you could have a few different names for the level at which you're supported or supporting the organization.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, we can do that. We can also build some more logic into this form, like saying that your membership for the Dig Life Collective comes free, or depending on how many you checked off. So that's something we can program into this form, so that the overall total here sort of calculated on the fly, and then once you've checked them off, then you can join, and then you just pay whatever the total is here, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you want it to be a one-time donation, or the idea with like OPB is that they have sustaining members give $5 a month or $10 a month or whatever. It's always that repeating thing. So they have the income coming in.
So when you say a sustaining member, is that specific to an organization, or is that just general dollar amount that comes to any of them?
That's the model, and maybe it doesn't work here, but it's the model from the Oregon Public Broadcasting, OPB. And when they do like the NPR type thing, the National Public Radio. So when they do a drive, they're not asking for a one-time donation, although that's always an option. They're asking for choose your level for a repeated monthly donation.
Yes, and we have that, WNYC does that same thing. The difference here is these are also sustainable memberships, right? So the dollar is per month, that is ongoing for any of the organizations you join.
So is that managed like a subscription in Stripe or PayPal? So people could unsubscribe at any time, cancel that, and then would you get notified if they cancel?
Yeah, of course. That's all the CPCM process that Graham is working on.
Okay.
So, yes, as easy as possible to opt out of the subscription, of course.
Okay, now would this be like a scroll bar as new organizations are added or over time?
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, save the scroll bar for later.
Eventually, not even a scroll bar, right? Eventually, it would be like type in the kind of thing that you want to do and explore the organizations that have tags that are similar to the words you used.
Yes, totally, right. It could be a whole like a mapping thing with introducing quick snippets of who is here, getting to know them, and then decide from there.
Yeah, it for the organizations, the skills map becomes what activities do you do and what outcomes are you going for.
So it could be like the Google auto suggest. You type a few letters and it suggests what you might want to join.
Yes.
Yeah, I would prompt it with a richer question, but for sure we can use some machine learning to help parse that. Like you could ask them about their profile skills. I mean, this might not be at joining, but you could have some richer questions where they can explore the ecosystem in a way that aligns with what they can do and what they want to learn and what impacts they want to have in the world.
Yes, so just a free search and maybe some tags to search on or click to see the tags. And, yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so but other than that, so would you be comfortable introducing that on the portal? Something with the adjustments we talked about?
I love it. The digital life, the ecosystem maps has been part of Dig Life, like projects. It's like, it's just expanded. It's a projects place that is just maps. So everybody in there is a Dig Life member. That doesn't have an organization behind it that's doing anything. Although if we want that could turn into one of the various mapping groups that are emerging, but nothing's ready. And then how do people join as Dig Life members? How do they join not only the maps, but the actual projects and partners domains, which could be very, very generative spaces if people could find them. But right now, the people in there have all been like literally manually added by me or somebody like me. One of us has literally given them the sign up link somehow.
Yes, like over time, do you see pulling out some of these spaces and maybe grandfathering the current members to stay in there for a year maybe, and then they contribute after that? Or?
I don't know. I think for Dig Life, it's really useful to have separated the projects activities, the conversation activities in the main domain, and the ops. And I see maps as a project of the collective that is just specific enough, and we have enough different kinds of maps that I didn't want to take over the projects domain. We need to be able to get those links to people, and I think the welcome bot might be a way that we can do that. So if you join the collective, then you are joined to those. Yeah, we don't want people to join each one of them unless they're interested.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it like a drip campaign. Over time, as people start using it, the bot sees what they're interested in and suggests it.
Yeah, that would be great. I don't know if Joachim, can the current welcome bot do that? Or is that too nuanced?
I haven't looked into that yet.
Okay.
I don't know. But so
I would think that, when somebody enters the project domain, we could give them links to, I don't know, when they enter the mapping channel.
Yeah, that's a way to do it. The map, so you could have a clear channel for each, like I have mapping and data in the main conversational domain, we could have a bot that says, there's a whole mapping community over here. Or, hey, it seems like you're interested in helping with ops. Maybe that could be just the Dig Life ambassador. You could just have an invitation to explore, hey, we need help with the ops teams. If you want to dive in as an ambassador a little bit deeper, here are the needs we have. And at least that opens a conversation with people.
Yeah, I think it's a natural progressive for a channel. If it gets too complicated for it to graduate to having a domain, in the same way mapping has. So, and I think, it sort of concerns me that we just have one level in project, but that's the way that you expand with Mattermost, is you add another name to cover a channel that is overloaded, and maybe there should be, in the main Dig Life, maybe there should be a channel for each of the other domains. And that then links to, either, in some cases a welcome bot might be the way to do it. In other cases, just into the channel where the domain is.
So yeah, for maps, if you're interested in mapping, you should know there's this whole space over there. The welcome bot can just give them the link. For ops, we would want an actual conversation with some of the stewards to see if they really do want to join an ops team.
Right.
And for projects, it might be something in between where the bot would say something like, hey, if you want to bring your project to the collective, fill out this project profile, let us know what you're doing, and make sure you're aligned with our mission. And then if you have all of that, then maybe you do get the welcome or the join link to the projects domain. So you don't need a human in there. And Joachim, this is a tiny thing, I'm not sure, but in the new portal, because we have 4 letters, I'm not sure if we can change the name of the team, but I would love, it says EcoS, or yeah, because it's shortened Ecos. I would love that to just say maps. So that would be a lot clearer. I'm not sure how hard that is to change, and it's a little niddly thing, but
yeah, it should be doable. I can use the display name, not the channel name for that. Should be doable.
Should I? I mean, I could change the channel name too.
Right, that's what I would grab it from, not the URL, because I don't think you can change that for domains. Let me put that on the list.
Thank you.
So from my experience when I was a new user, it took me a while to understand domains and channels, and eventually I got it. But right off the top, yeah, people need a slow introduction to just chatting first, and then realizing, oh, yeah, these are channels in a domain, rather than knowing up front what is a domain. It's confusing to new people, I think.
Are there triggers within the new welcome bot that say, like, if you've been chatting in here for a week or something, then you get a certain prompt. If you've been gone for 3 months and you come back, then you get a certain prompt. Is there any sort of timing triggered stuff that we can do?
I didn't see that, Christina.
Okay.
I would think this is a more sophisticated kind of bot, a third-party integration that we also wanted to take a look at this, but that requires more thinking and configuration and some dedicated person behind it to update all of this logic that goes. All right.
Well,
Anything
I have some basic logic for the welcome stuff. So I think that we can pull some of the initial questions, think about them in terms of the changes that have been made since that document was made, and have some pretty quick, like, here are some basic questions. And maybe the welcome bot can just say, hey, you're starting in the Digital Life Collective. This is where all of the conversations happen that are just conversations about, whatever. If you want to do something, if you're active, like get your own organization in here, or help the Digital Life Collective grow, or bring your own project to the collective, here are the channels to join and have those conversations. Clippy, totally. Oh my God.
Anyway, so yeah, there's more to discuss. Maybe that leads to the next topic, which is the website. How do we communicate that better to new folks out there? Give you a quick update there. Share my screen again here. So in our public engagement channel, we did this revision of the content or structure, right? So that's the flow basically on the new website, with all the different pieces, and these elements behind that is kind of a design or layout element that we can use using the template. And then some of the content pieces that go into these little snippets. We started to look at the branding, right? Although that's not complete. There's more things to change for the new brand, and some other links here. That's one thing. The other thing.
I gotta say, I love the colors.
Colors are good, yeah. The other thing that's new is there's a new graph template around. I'm not sure where we're going with the template yet. We have a pretty sophisticated templating engine, which is coming close to a CMS system, right, where you can put together your own layout elements on the screen, and they can reuse it on different sites. The thing is, it's a lot of work to it's a steep learning curve to begin the website, right? And I see Roy has been having difficulties climbing that curve, and so do I. And an alternative, maybe, and I haven't explored that yet either, is use a single template that does not have the CMS capabilities. So something, here's a fairly new template that someone created. I'm not sure if that's the one, but a template that could have all the elements we need for now, right? Like some kind of a carousel, way to divvy up the content in boxes and blocks, footer and header. If that has enough and it's easier to edit that thing, maybe we can switch to a different template. That's a possibility I'm still exploring with Roy. That makes the creation of the initial website, the new version, I think easier than the way it is right now.
So is that, in terms of moving content and actually getting the content over to match that outline on the notepad, should we wait until you've made that decision? Or are the pages that are created in Grav right now going to port to whatever you pick?
I would say take a look at the template, and I'm waiting for Roy too, to see if you can see there's a good match, right, between the content we're creating now and the template that's coming here out of the box. And then the next step is I want to install that on Graph, so you can actually use that in the Graph app and interface, and then plug in some content, right? And that's going to be the factor that says yes, this is useful or not, right? So more work to do on the website. Let me stop here.
Eric, the public engagement team, which covers, it's what we're calling marketing and ops, is Roy has really been taking the lead on that. Joachim is tech support, obviously, and branding, visual stuff. Steve Taylor did most of the content on the previous site, along with Philip Sheldrake and I. And I think there's a few other people in that channel, but those are the most active.
My question is, who are the business-focused people? Like, who would know, like, what branding and consumer issues?
Steve Taylor was the marketing director for Lenaro for years.
Okay. All right, good.
And he's just not been around really. Roy also, I don't know what his title is, but he for sure has the ability to write pithy content that doesn't sound geeky.
Yeah, I just don't want all the geeks designing the marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. I should pull Steve into this. He should know. Steve, if you're watching this recording, we need your help designing the website.
Yeah, speaking of recordings, if people can just post in the video curation when you upload a recording, so I know that you have it, or that we could review it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
All right, that's it from my end, folks.
Thank you. That's a lot.
It's a lot, right? Lots happening. Welcome back, Christina.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Okay. And I'll see you another time when I'm sure we'll get together sometime.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Eric.
Yep.
Take care.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.